Hello, everybody. I'm Colonel. Beside me is TDS, and we are going to be bringing you APL. I'm so excited. TDS, what do you feel about tonight?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry for that. I was so excited that I muted myself without knowing that. So yeah, I feel like excitement is kind of the best word to describe how I'm feeling about this. A new start for the league, new teams that people can be excited about, and both of us casting this, it should be a really good season overall.
Absolutely, and especially this matchup. This is one I'm really excited for. Little Monkeys is one of the tier 3 teams, but this is the
Yeah.
group of death. Shurima has been talked about as being really dangerous because a team like Little Monkeys is one of those tier 3 teams when they probably could have been tier 2. They're one of the strongest tier 3 teams that we have. So what do you feel about that?
Yeah, when I looked at how they made the power rankings so that they could divide each group, it surprised me that one of the teams that were in tier 2 were with 27 points, I feel like it was, and that made it so that one of the stronger teams that was below that, I mean, was left aside. So already we know that there's a couple of teams that could have been upper in the tier 2 but were left in tier 3, so makes for good groups like Shrima, like you were saying, which I feel like if anyone from this group get out, it's any team that you never want to face, because any team can be really dangerous.
Absolutely, every single game is going to count, especially in a group like Shurima. And we are going to be heading into draft, and honestly, there's a lot to be expecting for draft because we are on the new patch, and there's a lot of changes that honestly have shifted the meta just a little bit. I expect a lot of Xin Zhao, maybe a bit of Nocturne. But what are you feeling about draft?
If it's in terms to the new champs, like you're saying, a lot has changed just with this recent patch. There's champions that were really buffed a lot and some that were falling behind. One of the champions that I've been really excited to see and see more people prioritize is the Irelia. I feel like she's a really strong champion. She received the small rework, and with that came even more power than she had before. Her W changes made it so that her matchups can be easier to win, and the passive stacking with less time. Now that it takes less time to stack the passive, it's easier to win trades early on. Even though it's less damage, having the just 4 hits be there, it's already much more easy to win long trades with the Irelia, which is something that I really like, and it's something that I want to see people try and prioritize. I feel like she's the Akali of previous patches right now.
Honestly, my fingers are crossed that it's banned because this is so disgusting. Because that W, especially, that's exactly what you're saying.
Ooh.
It just makes her almost unkillable. And as we go into bans, Seraphine is very, very much expected. It's a strong flex pick for LMK. They have it in both the mid and supports. And now we're going to be seeing a lot focused towards the bot side of the map, as there is the Xin Zhao as well. But Lulu and Ezreal also taken off.
Yeah, Ezreal is one of the most interesting ones to me, because I feel like Ezreal, even though was nerfed with the Sunder, he still was one of the top 3. Like, his priority is, even in terms of a staircase, if he was at the top previously, now he's like 2 steps behind, but he's still really high up. So it's understandable to see the bans of the Ezreal as well as the Lulu. And we were talking about this. We were excited to see if Aphelios would come through, and it does come through. And I feel like it's one of the carries that has seen more prevalence now. He had a small change previously, and people have been starting using it more. And I feel like Aphelios is in a really great spot, and paired up with the Thresh, a champion that can make your positioning be more forgiving. If you ever miss position, it's so good already. I really like this bot lane combo.
Yeah, and especially for someone like Ensis, who has been spamming it a ton recently. He's one of the lowest rank players in the game today, but I'm very excited to see what he can bring because he has not played a considerable amount of rank. This is his first big rank season. So a lot to expect from this player, as we also have the bot lane combo that they'll be facing will be Jhin not as the Orianna and Vi, actually.
Yes! I love Vi. I know that she's not in the greatest of spots. I feel like there's a lot of junglers that are probably better than her, but I love seeing Vi. I think that she does have a point in the meta. She just needs the right champions around her. And I feel like Aphelios and Thresh can kind of work well with her. If you get a Galio or maybe another big AoE champion around the Vi, she can be really useful. But I want to see what the side of Little Monkeys does actually use the Vi for, because if she falls behind, she's going to be as useless as garbage. I just say it like that. She's going to be complete garbage. So I hope that they have a plan around this Vi.
And Team Ambition obviously has the same idea as you. They did take that Galio off the table, and now Evelyn's a funny band to me, but the Aurelia, just like we were saying, is so strong. So if they're not prepared to pick it R4, then very understandable to see it on the ban list as well.
Yeah, I hate to see the champion banned because I feel like there's so much more outtake potential that you can go for, but it's completely understandable. Like, she is really strong. If you don't have a plan for her, it's better to just take it away. The said ban, the last ban said, I I'm okay with this because of the potential flexibility that he does provide, and it can be a champion that does have easy matchups on mid lane. So denying that champion, particularly for the mid lane, it's a good idea. But there's a lot of other choices. Corki would be interesting. It's a champion that he's not out of the meta and he's not bad in the current meta, but he's not good either. He has good matchups, and I think against the Orianna particularly, he probably is not as threatened as he could have been against other champions. Maybe the Akali, for example, or the Viego is another option that I feel probably threatens him more. But against the Orianna particularly, I feel like there's a place for him to be played. And now TAS needs to go for the jungler and the top lane. Blindly the top lane, I feel like going for something tanky is probably a good idea. Oliver being hovered. If it's on the jungle, I think it probably does have a good matchup against the Vi.
I actually, to be honest, expect it to be in the top laner,
Oh,
but
okay.
it could be in both. They both do look decently comfortable on the champion. And I do want to go back to the Corki just for a second. Corki is very much a comfort pick for Quest in the mid lane, and both of these players are very confident control mage players specifically. So I don't expect a lot of what we've seen in the meta, a lot of these Akales and Viegos. I'm very much expecting the Corki, the Victor, and of course this game, the Orianna as. Wow, we have ourselves an Elise. TDS, talk me through this one.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Elise right now. She just feels bad overall. She has to snowball really hard at the start of the game. And if Bai is a champion that if she falls behind feels horrible to play, Elise is even worse. Because she does have a little bit of AP damage and the cocoon is easy to hit. If you can hit it, it's a really nice ability. But if she just falls behind so early on, she becomes a cocoon bot. And that is not something that you ever want out of your jungler, especially really early on. Bai at least will have more possibilities to reach the backline, and she does have an ultimate that does knock people away, so she can get on top of the Jhin with really good viability. It's better than the Elise, but both of these champions really depend on snowballing. And now, at least this means that they are going to fight early on. So we're going to see action at the start of the game. They do have to go and kill someone. So at least that's going to be something that we will see. And also, just to mention, the Mundo coming through, I'm not sure how this matchup works, but at least Mundo is able to deny the Elise the gank possibility as well as the Bolivar. So even though they have both close to point and click CC, Bolivar does have point and click CC, Elise does have the cocoon. You can deny one of those with the Mundo, and there it's no longer possible to just kill the Mundo outright. So already there's a lane that kind of gets denied by the Mundo, and Elise does have to go towards other lanes to get priority.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking more about the Mundo is one of those champs that when he first came out with the rework, people weren't sure if it was like really awful or if it didn't feel that great, but slowly it was climbing in win rate, and now people have realized that he's actually really good, and is starting to being seen with a lot more priority as of late. And I'm not at all surprised to see it in the top lane for Basting, because I'm expecting this Aphelios to be their big carry, and you want a meaty front line in front of him.
Yeah, it's necessary to have someone that can stand in front of the Aphelios and can tank the damage so that he is not suffering from the immediate engage from the enemy team. So the Mundo does fit the bill. And like you were saying, Mundo was a champion that was not really taken into account that much at the start of when he came out with the rework, because I think people probably thought that he got nerfed and he got gutted in some aspects. And I feel like it was mainly the changes on his passive that made Mundo so different. So you need to actually know how to play around your passive, the CC denial, to actually be able to excel at Mundo. So if you are able to actually do that in the later stages of the game, because at the start of the game it's not that useful, but later on his passive becomes much more oppressive. And if you do play around that, then Mundo can be a huge problem. And I want to see if, like you're saying, Basting is able to play around that and be a huge tank menace so that the Aphelios can carry the game.
Absolutely. And the last thing I want to point out is if we're taking a look at the supports, Daddy Zillion as well as 29 Rosebud, they're both set up to pop off. We have carries that aren't the most mobile. Obviously, Jin has a lot of speed, but he doesn't have any dashes. He can't escape any of those hooks. And Aphelios, of course, only has the speed off of his Q. So
Yeah.
very much both of these supports can have absolutely stellar games if their hooks are on point.
Yeah, and the good thing with the hook support is that you will look good if you get the massive hook. So there's, like you were saying, a really huge chance for them to be popping off in this game. But I feel like Thresh will probably be much more valuable because if by any means happen and the hook supports don't actually get really good hooks, then the Lantern from the Thresh alone will signify much more than anything that the other support can do. Because if you can made it so that the Aphelios or the Corki can stay alive longer, then that means extra damage in teamfights, and that means that you have more ability to carry. And having two constant damage AD carries or constant damage reds in the middle and in AD carry makes Thresh be much more valuable to try and make at least one of them survive long enough.
Absolutely. And honestly, as we get into those mid and late game fights, I'm going to be curious to see how Team Ambition actually decides to try and play through that, because at least how I read these team compositions, Little Monkeys is so much stronger once we hit that late game. That Corki
Yeah.
is such a strong scaling champion, and every time he has that package, you have to be scared, and always with the Aphelios, and they also have a stronger front line. So do you think Team Ambition has to win early, or will they be able to contest in the late game?
I feel like both of these teams do have to win early, but Team Ambition do need the early advantage because they are more of a pick composition. So if they have early advantage, they can set up picks much more easily and that way have control of objectives. On the other hand, Literal Monkeys, even though they would feel great having an early advantage because of the Vi particularly, they in reality don't need it because the Vi can work much better as a frontline. So even if she falls behind, if she goes full tank, she will have much more utility than the Elise. And that means that your carries in the Corki and the Aphelios will have much more space. And that makes it much more doable in terms of 5v5s. And that's why Literal Monkeys will probably have a little bit more of an advantage there. But I feel like it's close. If it comes down to fighting, I would expect Literal Monkeys to win. But if it comes down to someone having the advantage and Team Ambition does have that, then they should be set up to be able to run off with the game.
Absolutely. So we are going to send to a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to get straight into game 1 of Little Monkeys versus Team Ambition. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody. We are back going into game one of Literal Monkeys versus Team Ambition, Heart and Soul. I am so excited for this matchup. TDS, talk me through it.
I want to see if they actually go for a level 1 invade. They have a Nautilus and a Elise on TAS, so maybe they can probably pull it off, but it seems like just a
Oh,
normal 5-point guard for each side, which it's the typical, but it's boring. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I do like the cheeses.
No,
They're fun.
I always love a level one, especially in this game with the team compositions we have before us. You want to be winning early. It's what your team composition is built to do, and you have a lot of tools for that invade with the cocoon, with
Yeah.
that with that dredge line. So unfortunately, they don't go for it, but we will see. It looks like Vi backing that does suggest potential bot side start, but it looks like she's actually going to be starting on her red buff.
Yeah, I think like the vision is just so that she does know if the list tries to go in to invade the red, and she will start on the top side. I feel like the setup on the bot lane is better because you have the Thresh hook as well as the potential graviton from the Aphelios. So you already have two abilities to set up yourself, and then the extra stun from the VI. So it does make sense, particularly because the other two lanes do not have that good of a setup. And I feel like if you are able to put the bot lane ahead as a buy, that would be miles better than just putting the Mundo or the Corki ahead.
Absolutely. On the other side of the map, Elise will be leashed on the bot side, which means we should expect her to go to top lane Scuttle, trying to get Nubili ahead on the Volibear and trying to gank basing, which I'm not sure how well it'll work considering Mundo's passive should stop that Cocoon.
Yeah, that's my main worry, the fact that Mundo can stop. And it's not only the Cocoon, it's also the Bolivar stun. So in reality, it will be hard to try and set up the kill. So it's kind of an idea like when it was Renekton Elise that you could set up the kill with just a point-and-click CC and then the Cocoon. But because Mundo does deny that, it's going to be harder to set up any kills like that. So I'm worried that it does not work, but if it ends up working, then the advantage can probably end up being huge for them.
Absolutely. Now, as they path, keep your eyes on both side lanes as well as the mid lane for priority to see what these junglers are able to do, because if any of these lanes have the push enough to try and defend a Scuttle Crab, it could be pretty devastating for these junglers who both want to get on the map early. And right now, Corki is pushing pretty heavily, trading that HP for the push and trading pretty well effectively as well. So Pakapal should have priority regardless of where he goes.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Corki went for the Doran's Blade instead of the Corrupting Potion to try and get as much value in terms of health and mana, but he probably wants to... Ooh, nice hook, set up.
A beautiful hook, and now they're going to be trying to trade in. The Deadly First does root Rosebud. Is she going to take out... Oh, Pakapal
Nice
getting
flash.
flashed away from. Now the TP is coming out already. They're going to try and escape. Nubili is here. Now Ensis gonna be able to root Nubili, but he's still in a in a lot of trouble. The hook lands, and that's first blood going over to Jin. And now they can look for more. They'll push in the wave. Beautifully done by Team Ambition.
The counter setup there, because of the E from the Bolivar, you can set up the W from the Jin, and that way you can set up a stun. So even though they don't have any more CC abilities to be able to pair up there, or they're really farther away, just that good setup from the Bolivar alone makes it easy to get the kill on the Jin. And as soon as Jin gets hit by the E from the Bolivar, I feel like he has to flash, because if not, it's instant death. It allows the Nautilus to be in position to get the dredge line, and it's just an easy kill. And what seemed like a really good attempt from the side of LMK ends up being a really nice first blood by Taz.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember what they burned for that. They did use a very, very, very early TP out of Nubili. But Elise was there to catch the wave, so she did get a lot of farm, and she did get, more importantly, a lot of XP to even out the sharing XP that Paka was able to get in the bot side during that gank. So we'll see what she is able to do with that, and if Volibear can be punished for using that TP so early.
I feel like this is still not a huge enough lead that it will not matter for the least later on, but it is a great start. And having a kill on the Bolivar particularly, I feel like can enable, or not the Bolivar, but having a kill on the Jin can make it that much easy for him to have priority and then be able to assist other lanes, because I feel like that's the power of the team, being able to not have to have that much of a part in bot lane, but instead have huge impact on the other lanes with his long range.
Absolutely. And now I very much expect Aphelios to start to lose this farm battle. He has a big wave already
Look
stacked
at
in.
mid lane,
And
actually.
oh, it looks like
They're
you're right.
synced
There
up.
is going to be a gank. And wow, it's the whole party.
Oh
Quest is going to
no.
be using that Valkyrie to try and escape, but he's stunned up. He's locked. Oh, the flash just to seal the deal. And Quest will fall. That's going to be Elise taking the kill.
And once again, a really good setup by the side of Taz. Nubili pushes the wave, goes down, and from both sides, the Elise down, the Bolivar top, they just come from behind. And because Corki was constantly pushing the wave was in a bad position, and it was just such an easy setup. The Bolivar doesn't burn flash. Elise does burn flash, but I think she has a flash that you can burn, so it doesn't matter. The Corki fails the flash, and now you can probably set up a dive next with Elise because the Corki do not have the flash, and the Oriana is close. It does have the shockwave now, so it should be easy to get out.
Yeah, the shockwave is going to be a big cooldown to keep track of. Now it's Basing's turn to get ganked as the cocoon does land and is spell shielded away, but the stun still lands from Nubili. The damage is coming down, but I don't think Basing cares all that much. He will be using the sadism to try and keep his HP high to avoid them potentially looking for more. So that is an ultimate for Spout.
Yeah, it's an ultimate for just a couple of DCs, and this is what Mundo can do better against the Bolivar and the Elise. Just because of that CC denial in his passive makes it harder to go for it. Yes, they burn the... Oh wait, Corki? Elise is here.
Elise is here, but kiting down river will find the Vi as well as his bot lane. Nautilus has roamed up, but it looks like Corki should be able to make his escape. There's a lot of trading on the top side, and it seems like Mundo is the one that's taking the majority of the benefits from this. Is Nubili going down to about a quarter HP.
Yeah, the problem right now for the Mundo is that he doesn't have ultimate and the Bolivar does. So if he overextends a little bit too much and thinks that he can probably win that, the ultimate from the Bolivar can just make it so that you don't actually win that fight. So he needs to be careful how he plays that. Then I've liked how the Lise has been moving, even though she wasn't part of the first blood. She has been trying to make things happen, and she has been able to keep up in farm. I just hope that they can get the advantage with the Lise soon enough, because by 15 minutes, if she doesn't have a kill, I feel like she will fall behind by that point. So there's still time, but she needs to move.
Right now, there is just about a little over a 1k gold lead. So you're right, for an early game team composition, you want to see them try and continue to push the pace of this game a little bit more. We'll see where Elise pass after she goes for her Krugs, but her bot lane is pushed in, so she will not be able to gank there. So we'll see what she's able to do, because she has to get a little bit more done in this early game.
Yeah, and another thing that I need to point out with the composition from Taz is that you, as a composition so early, so focused on the early game, if you don't stack the Drakes, then you're going to lose a lot, because just 4 minutes behind on the Drake counter can mean a lot of gold that it will go to the enemy, and that means that your strength will fall down in comparison to them going up. So that one Cloud Soul there already disables any kind of soul potential early on, and that is not good for the Elise team. They need now to focus on getting the Rift Herald so that they can get the plates and get a boost in gold, because if not, then they will lose a lot of gold that they could have probably gotten if they had focused those objectives early on.
Great point, and I have to give credit where credit is due to Packapal, because as soon as Elise was spotted on that topside gank, calling his bot lane over to make sure that that Drake was taken, and now you're right, there will be a strong soul, right? We will have either Infernal or the Ocean Soul, both very, very powerful, and that very, very early Drake Soul win condition isn't necessarily on the table for Team Ambition, considering they did get that first Drake taken. Now it looks like Quest did actually use his package. It ran out of cooldown, so in the mid lane, don't expect to fight for too much longer.
Yeah, I don't think the mid lane, but they are sitting on top.
Nautilus is here as well. Basing going to be using the flash, and it looks like they could potentially dive, but they don't have the wave prepped yet. Nautilus is there, and now what will LMK do on the opposite side of the map? Vi is there, Thresh is there. Looks like they're going to try and get this Jhin. Lexar is going to get knocked up. Now, taking a lot of damage. Assault and Battery coming up. It's a lot of damage. Back ball is doing so much work. Heal and Flash being burned. Deadly Flourish does land wide. And now, Ensis is finally able to fix that CS deficit from the early trade, as Jhin is completely zoned off.
Yeah, and importantly, it's Lexar there. I really like how Lexar played that because he waited until the Vi uses all her cooldowns to try and flash away then. And that way he doesn't ends up blowing his flash for nothing. Even though he's losing the wave like you're saying, he's still alive. And that's the most important part. And the Rift Herald used in mid, I really like this. Funnel the gold on the Orianna that will have a lot of impact with the shockwaves. So, and it's one of the best turrets to take down as well. So overall, I really like that they are committing for this. The other probable good turret that you can take down is the bot, just to give the gold on the Jhin so that he can have much more damage and he can be much more of a menace. But the mid lane one, it's probably my number one favorite with the Herald.
Absolutely, and a great use of Elise's time again to make sure she could secure that Rift Herald immediately after the gank top did not work, because Basing was able to stay under his turret, but keeping his time still valuable as wow, that's a great trade in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Something that I was surprised though with Taz is that they had the champion setting up on top lane for a dive, and they have the Bolivar ultimate. So after he burned down the passive from the Mundo, I thought they were going to commit. I'm okay with the fact that they didn't commit, but I think they had the champions to be able to dive that. And the flashes from the Nautilus and the Lees to be able to survive if something goes really badly.
A potential missed opportunity. As I would like to point everyone's attention to that mini map. Take a look at the vision placed by LMK in this bottom jungle. They have two control wards, finally getting rid of one of them, and a bunch of stealth wards as well. They are very, very prepared for this Drake, which we said has to be a focus for Team Ambition, and LMK is very, very ready for it. They have control of the river. They have the control ward there, and now it looks like there could be a potential fight.
Yeah, they are setting up for themselves, but there's teleports on both top laners, and the Corki is not close. Oh, nice move.
He's gonna land. He's gonna fly in and gonna signal the TP. Corki is here. That's the counter TP coming out of Team Ambition. The Drake is ticking down now, down to just 2,000 HP. This looks like it may be a smite fight, but that's a Cocoon landing, and that's a lot of damage. Turn call is gonna come over the top. That's a beautiful engage from Team Ambition, and now Nubali is gonna take a lot of damage. That's so many kills. Two picked up already. Nubali is low HP, but it doesn't matter. Now they're trying to trade back on the other side. Triple kill going over to Elise. Now Quest is going to get hooked as well. Now Quest does not have the damage. He just cannot do anything about it. And Team Ambition, they can do no wrong.
Yeah, that was a really nice teamfight by the side of Team Ambition. Even though LMK was already set up there, the main problem and the huge reason why they lost that, Quench on the Corki, he was way too much on the side. He was never a part of the fight. He was using rockets to try and poke, but as soon as they noticed that the Corki was so far off and they could have they separated the other four members, they went for the first pick, for the first champion, and the hook, even though it connects, it doesn't matter because the Oliver just engages and gets the amount of damage out. It's such an easy setup, and the fact that the Corki is not there to be able to trade the damage is so huge for them. I also feel like not having the power spikes, the first item power spikes on the Corki and the Aphelios is much more important than just the raw components that the side of Team Ambition had, so that made their fight much more advantageous for them alone.
Absolutely. Now completed for Team Ambition is both the jungler mythic as well as that Gale Force on the Jhin, which is a very, very important power spike for him. That execute on top of the execute damage he already has on his fourth shot can be really, really powerful. Now, Basing gonna get two plates up here for himself potentially, or might get forced off of the second one right before the turret plates are gonna fall. And if we could toggle gold for a second, just about everywhere seems to be losing. Basing is behind as well, and honestly, he looks like the closest to being even that we have, as well as Aphelios, who I have to give credit, despite going down 0-2, has been farming very well.
Yeah, even though he has been going down, like you were saying, 0-2, he has been farming well enough, and he's a champion that needs to continue farming because if not, his body just falls way too hard. He does need the items. The first two items probably are what matters most to him, but he does need those two items as soon as possible, and he needs to get the farm. And that's something, but even though I praise the location away top lane,
potentially looking for a tower dive here.
There's no passive.
Nubali does not have the ultimate. Oh, great point out. So they're unable to look for it. Nick did not feel comfortable, and they did also. Not sure if it was spotted, but Pakapal was there for the potential re-engage if that did go. So potentially avoiding disaster for the side of Team Ambition.
Yeah, they already have a 4,000 gold advantage. I don't think they need to overcommit right now. but it's coming back up.
Oh, Pack-a-Ball looking in. It's all battery over the top. It's doing a lot of damage, but now that's engaged on the opposite side. The Dredgeline will do so much, and Rosebud will fall. Lexar finding that kill. Now they're going to continue on the top side. Noobly is going to have to use the ultimate just for defensively to try and keep himself alive, but the disengage is good enough for Team Ambition, and Little Monkeys have yet to find themselves a kill.
Yeah, they're still 7-0. That really nice roam by the Orianna to just push the wave, go bot lane and get the kill. She doesn't even need to use Shockwave, which is really important so that she can set up another kill later on. The Corki, even though tries to push the wave, doesn't get that much in the turret. And on the top side, I like the idea from Pack-a-Ball, but you don't have enough damage yet to be able to pull it off, and the Mundo doesn't have a Mythic either, so your damage is so much less in comparison to the full Mythic Elise and Oliver.
Absolutely. And now we do see the first Mythic being completed for LMK. It will be Corki on the Shield Bow. I have to point out, he is farming like a maniac. 151 farm, just about to crest 16 minutes. He's close to 10 CSM if he can continue to get just a couple more waves, but potentially that is Zillion hovering over looking for the idea of a play, but none will be found.
Yeah, and that's probably the best news from the side of LMK, the fact that the Corki is keeping up with farm. He has one item, as long as he can get the second item, which I think will be the Manamune because he does have a tier. So with that, you can begin stacking the damage with him, and that way he will be the late game carry that we all know and love, hate, however you say it. But that's the only good news right now. They need to stop the bleeding as much as possible, and if you have to give away a couple of turrets, I think that's still good enough as long as you can farm and get your items. That's the more ideal situation. Luckily, they also LMK were able to secure the first Drake, so that means that the soul point and the soul will take longer to get.
Yeah, and like we talked about before, it will be the Ocean Soul, so a lot of healing, a lot of in-combat ability that both teams would be really, really happy to get, especially for something like a Mundo who's already healing so much. He just becomes unkillable if he has that Ocean Soul behind him. So keep an eye out for those Drakes. Looks like Orianna is going to be TPing back into mid lane with 10 seconds left until this Drake spawns. They want this Drake for their own, and it looks like LMK isn't going to be fighting for it.
Yeah, Bai is just setting up on the top lane. She's shadowing the Mundo in case. Oh.
Uh-oh. She's going to be caught. That's a lot of damage on a Pack-a-Ball. His health bar disappeared, and now Noobly did force him away, but he's still taking a lot of turret damage as the Drake finally there just secured. And it looks like Vi's game plan right now is to play to the top side because the bot side is just way too strong for the side of Team Ambition.
Yeah, right now, like you were saying, the Jhin does just have too much damage right now. 2 kills, the Gate Force, it's going to be able to be easy for him to escape. And they use the Herald here. The turret was going to die either way. I don't know why they use it here. They could have probably used it a little later on. But they will get one good charge on the second turret. And this can be a lot of gold influx for the team that does need the early gold influx. And this is really important for the Least, particularly. They will be able to run down this turret, yeah.
Yep, they're actually going to get the full tier 2 turret. So great use of the resources there, as although it will not get any second charge off. But that is a lot of gold. As there's actually going to be some fighting up in the top side. Sadism going to be used. Flashing is Noobly now trying to find himself the Q, but Basing is kiting away. Corki is on his way, but so is the Orianna. Corki has himself the package, and that's going to force the ult out of Noobly. He will have to run away. Corki was ready to pull trigger as the first win that we've seen in a while for LMK.
Yeah, and that is ultimate for ultimate. That is still valuable. The flash was also forced by Noobly to try and get on top of the Mundo in comparison to the Mundo just using his ultimate. So, like you were saying, first real win. Maybe it's not that showy of a win, but it's a win nonetheless. And being able to deny any huge advantage for Team Ambition, it's so important for them. Like we were saying, they need to slow the pace down. They need to give Aphelios and Corki time to be able to get to their power spikes.
And right now, a 5k gold lead for Team Ambition, Heart and Soul. So LMK is very much on the back foot. They just have to hold on. But the farm is continuing to go in their way. Corki has himself a pretty sizable advantage, just about 20 CS to his name over the Orianna. And he's only about 500 gold behind his counterpart, which is probably the closest out of any of these matchups that we have for LMK. Yeah. So I have to give a lot of credit to Quest.
Yeah, he has been farming well enough. I feel like also the fact that Oriana has lived a little bit of time does make it easier for the Corki to be gaining the farm without having to that much of a contest. But he still has been keeping up with the farm. And as long as he can keep on farming, oh wait, Nautilus.
Oh, trying to look
Oof.
in for the Nautilus. Unfortunately, that's not going to work out for them. And I appreciate the attempt at the play, but again, nothing comes up of it.
And that's the problem with the buy right now. Like we were saying, these two champions need to spike to get an advantage early on. The Elise feels better now because she does have an advantage and she's ahead of the buy by 1 level. But the buy does still have some value as long as she's able to get on top of the Jhin or on the backline and create chaos. I think that's the ideal thing for her.
Yep. Now, a lot of members up in this top side. Basing might have a party.
Oh, Mundo.
Gonna walk into the bush. He will be spotted out, taking a lot of damage. And now using that ultimate, but they're gonna try and look on the fight. That's a beautiful engage by Pack with the ultimate. Trying to find the repel is really well done, but the Ignite's taken out. Pack with a shutdown will find himself the kill, the first one of the game for LMK, and that's a very, very needed one. As they will now try and look to escape with their lives. The rest of the team is coming. Basing as not where you want to back. The hook is going to land onto the passive, and now the TP's coming out. There's going to lose one already immediately. Basing will be next up on the drop valve, having to force his flash out. Quest is TP'd, but he does not have the package. That's an important ability that he does not have. Trying to force them away from this turret, trying to poke them out with those rockets. But the turret may not be that safe. Ensis is finally here to offer some artillery from the back, but it looks like both teams are going to disengage.
Yeah, they only lose the Thresh. I feel like this is still a huge win for LMK because they got the shutdown on the Least. That is much more gold influx than the Thresh that was 0-2 before dying there. So it's still a really nice win. They also stopped the push on the turret, and I feel like they can stop it from falling down. And just being able to set up, get a little bit of gold, and go back into farming, it's a massive win for LMK. Right now, they're in a really comfortable point, and if they are able to go into the soul point fight, which will be in 40 seconds, with another item for either of the carries, will be huge. But I don't think they need to, honestly.
Yeah, we'll see, as it is 30.
Oh, yeah, Colonel seems to have left oh, he's back.
There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but we are back just in time as the Drake is ready to spawn. Packapall, not sure if they're able to be here. Unfortunately, the Cocoon does miss, and now using that Vault Breaker just to escape. But the Drake is very much in Team Ambition's control. I don't think there will be a contest, so that will be Drake point going over to Team Ambition Heart and Soul. They will secure this, and now the time is starting to tick for LMK. They don't have that much longer to scale before the Soul goes over.
Yeah, they have 5 minutes, and I feel those 5 minutes are really important because that's a second item for the Corki and the Aphelios, and that will be much more huge than just fighting right now. So even though it hurts to let go of the soul point without fighting, I think it's much more valuable to actually be able to fight the soul than just the soul point. So I like the idea. Even though it seems bad, I like this idea much more. But if they lose the Baron here, that would be worse. Will they actually attempt it?
Looks like they're posturing to. They're ready. They finally started, but the ward only just spotted. Now, LMK does have full knowledge. Basing is in the side lane, but he does have TP, and they will be pulling off. Ensis has arrived, but they did not force anything out but the spot. Oh, beautifully done. But now the hook anyway. They're going to be looking for the engage. Now it's a lot of damage coming out on the back ball. He's going to have to try and escape the box. He's actually looking in for the fight. Back ball doing a lot of damage, but just way too overzealous. The damage, wow. Coming in very hard, but just a little bit too eager. As the TP has come down, and now they're trying to force them out of the river, but they no longer have their jungler. This will be a 4v5 if they try to fight it. Now looking for the package, they're trying to look in for the play. Quest will disengage with the Valkyrie. Beautiful attempt, but barely escaping his own death. It's now looks like both teams will be content with what they've gotten. Unfortunately, for LMK, they got Packapall's death.
Yeah, LMK commit a lot there. They were really close to actually taking down the Least, but I don't know why they committed the teleport from Basting. They knew they stopped the Baron, they put down a ping ward, so they knew that they weren't doing the Baron anymore. You just need to leave there, go back into farming, and as long as they don't return to Baron, that's a huge win for you. But now without teleport on the Mundo nor the Corki, you need to be more careful about leaving the Baron alone. And the Vi ends up dying there. I don't know what she committed with the ultimate. As long as you just work as a frontline for the Corki and the... Oh, wait, Nautilus? Okay. As long
Close. It was a
as...
dangerous position, but
Yeah.
the hook does not send.
Yeah, and just as long as the buy doesn't overcommit and doesn't end up dying stupidly, then oh, that's huge for them.
Alright, the Baron is going to be started again. They are aware of it once more, trying to poke them out. The Corki is doing so much damage. He does have that mana completed. Yeah. That is a big item breakpoint for him, and now they will be healing off. This is a potential look for the fight. The damage is starting to come in. Those missiles just do so much, poking them out, and LMK actually getting control of the river, and the scaling may have finally worked in their favor, as it seems like Team Ambition really doesn't have the strength to go for this Baron.
They need to be able to instantaneously engage, but since they're committing towards the Baron, they don't have enough possibility to turn around and go for a fight. Maybe here on the turret, when they are focused under it, they can go hold them. The Polyver is taking too much damage.
That's a lot of damage, and unfortunately, he is one of the front lines. That was the big problem for Team Ambition during draft, is that they're not really prepared for these late game fights because they don't have the strongest front line.
Yeah, and importantly, look at the Volibear items. He has Sunder and Sonjas. So he's not going to be that tanky. He's not going to take that much amount of damage. He's just itemizing so that he can go in the fights and then survive long enough. But if the fight begins even before that with a lot of poking from the Corki, the Aphelios depending on his items, and the Cleavers from the Mundo, then it doesn't matter if you have the Sonjas, you're going to die. Really important answer.
Yeah, beautiful Dark Passage to keep Ensis was taken safe. But now we are slowly ticking down to that Drake timer, and the scaling is coming in for the Corki, but for everyone else, maybe not so much. Aphelios is 40 farm down from his mid lane.
Oh, she's alone here.
Oh no, this is not what you want to see. He's going to try and escape, but the Blast Kill will seal the deal. There's no escaping this. Pack-a-Paw will fall, and with no smite on the table, this may finally mean Team Ambition can take the Baron.
I think they are moving now for this. Maybe they can stop this, but I don't know why Bai was walking there alone. Without your supporter, you don't need to commit to that play, you know that? There's no actual reason to go there alone. And now the Baron is up. I think maybe they can kill the dragon before they can come here from the Baron. So that will be... I actually think that is a favorable trade for LMK, because I don't think Taz can end the game with this Baron, but we will need to see. They are coming down as fast as possible. Maybe they can reach here, hit this point.
All racing and going really fast. Now, oh, looking for the engage. That's beautiful. That is so well done. Now they're looking for the fight. They don't have the numbers, but they're going to try regardless. The Infernum damage coming out. There's a lot of damage. Oh, the missile barely not getting the kill, but now finally they're going to find one. Quest is going to be able to get one. Can he get more? But no, I'll go for the backside. There's a double kill going over for the Volibears. Corki will fall now. Vi finally arrives. She's going to try and look, trying to save the fight for her team, but no, she's just delivering herself to the graveyard as Team Ambition wins everything.
And they go there for the fight. Why are you waiting for the fight as a 4v5? Just poke them from the distance. The Corki gets caught out of position. Massive cocoon by Nick on the least, and that secures the fight really easily. And we see in that fight, even in a 4v5, there's so much damage from LMK. The problem is that they never fight a true 5v5. They're just playing for what TAS want to do. And that's not what you want to do as LMK.
And now a massive advantage built up for Team Ambition, 14-2, and the soul secured. And this is a brutal situation for LMK here in game one. And honestly, they are looking for the smallest percentage plays to try and find their way back into this game.
And that's probably the only option right now. Maybe I think they still have the skilling advantage, and if they can probably wait a little more, then they are in favorable position. But now with the Ocean Soul in favor of Team Ambition, it just doesn't seem that possible. Oh, bye.
Really close to getting that kill. That's a beautiful cocoon. But regardless, they will continue to push in. And the turrets are going to slowly start to fall as the mid lane one chipping away, finally going to die. The damage is just so high. The gold is just so skewed. 10k advantage already built for Team Ambition.
Yeah. And the problem with now the poke is that even though you have a really nice poke with the Corki, it doesn't matter because you just need to move away as Team Ambition, heal up with the soul, and that's it. Yeah, you didn't take any damage. And that's the biggest problem. Courting Cole?
Current call over the top, trying to get the damage, but that's the stun regardless. Just trying to build space for their push as the wave clear is still there so far. Trying to protect this mid inhibitor turret. Volibear has pushed on the side, but the health bars are just slowly getting whittled away. Now Corki's trying to protect the top, using the Valkyrie ult, and now potentially looking for their play onto Volibear. He is very quick. It looks like they cannot get anything. And in the meantime, they will lose the mid lane turret. They will lose the mid lane inhibitor. Now the hook's going to land. They're going to be looking for the fight. That's so much damage coming out already. Now, the Severum will try and do the work as he will finally shoot the shotguns. Now that's doing a lot of damage. Volibear having to use the ultimate to get out, and his health bar is disappearing. The Zonia's finally using to save his life, but he's going to be shut down. Corki going to find himself the kill, and LMK may finally have gotten what they were looking for. Vi with the ball breaker will get the knockup on the Daddy Zillion, but her health bar is disappearing. Lexar with the execute. Corki back over the top, doing so much damage. Daddy Zillion, you're dead! And MK, you've got to be kidding me. They're going to find something, but double kill going over to Lexar. And that's the snipe. Oh! Deadly flourish for Jin as he finds himself the triple kill. Given to him more, Jin would be so happy with the Quadra as Basing is going to run away. His health bar should be high enough to secure it, but Team Ambition, they're looking to shoot him for game 1.
Yeah, and luckily, Lexar there saves the fight because it could have been much worse. It could have been just an easy win, and then they just run away. They don't lose anything more.
That's disgusting. Jin will take himself another one. Now 7-0-6, and if the game wasn't over yet, Lexar is certainly making a case for himself to show that it really should be, as he is going to be demolishing LMK.
Yeah, what a crazy amount of damage. That's supposed to be the front line. He died in an instant against the Jin. And what seemed to be an overextension from Team Ambition and something really good from the LMK, then LMK overcommits way too much. They walk too far forward to try and go for something. The Corki goes with the package, I think, way too far forward. You don't need to overcommit for kills. As long as you get kills, that's already massive for you because you're getting shutdowns. You don't need to kill the Jin. You don't need to kill the Orianna. If they backed out and you just lose one inhibitor, it's a massive win for LMK, but they overcommit, they overprioritize kills, they end up dying, the Jin comes massive, gets a triple kill, and they are able to clear up 2 inhibitors. Luckily, there's one still up, but I'm not sure if LMK does have enough to be able to protect the base and then win. If they don't lose in the next push from Team Ambition, then I think they probably can win. But right now, I'm not completely sure.
The time is slowly ticking down, but as Vi only completing her second item now, it's getting very behind the curve. Just finished that Sterix, but the push is coming in. And remember, in that last team fight, they got the kills, but both carries stayed alive. Orianna and Jin both yet to fall, and now with the inhibitor unprotected, I think it's only a matter of time before this last inhibitor falls. And we'll see if LMK decides to try and look for the fight. But actually,
Flash.
Flash Cocoon will land onto the wrong member. Now Current Call coming over the top, trying to find the Corki. Now looking in for the damage. That's a lot. Going in, but Quest taking down pretty low. The engage is coming in, and now looking in over the tower. The one will fall immediately. Back fall, delivering his life, and now the damage. Lexar is legendary. He'll find another double kill going over to him. And Jin just does so much. He'll find himself yet another. That's a triple kill going over to Lexar. And that has to mean game 1 as shut down. We'll have to see it. Patting the KDA just a little bit, but that is game 1. Going over to Team Ambition.
Yeah, and what a way to win. They had the really early game composition and they executed the early game close to perfect. I really love how they played it out from start to finish, because we need to remember that this snowball started with the Bolivar TPing down and just close to sacking his own lane to try and protect the Jin and get something back. And even though he lost a couple of CS, the Lise was able to answer that, get experience, the gold, and she never fell too far behind. Then it was just a continuation on going for ganks, setting up kills really well with the Lise, with the Nautilus. And the Jin, even though it wasn't as showy as other champions, he was slowly getting that huge advantage for then later on him being able to carry like this. So it's just a really nice preparation and game from the side of Team Ambition. And LMK, I think they had the correct mindset and idea. It's just that when it came to it, they were way too eager for certain plays and ended up overcommitting when they weren't as strong as the enemy team. If they wait a little bit, because the Corki was hurting. With 2 items, Corki was hurting too much with the rockets. If they wait a little bit, let the Aphelios get one more item. Let the Corki get one more item. They probably can fight But at that point, that's why I was thinking if one more push comes and they don't end with that push, then the team LMK can probably defend and fight. But it was just ending in that push. So really well done by Team Ambition. Great game one, and I hope we get another banger of a game two.
Absolutely. Very, very comfortable playing towards the win conditions that they had set out for themselves. When we first found their compositions in draft, they were very, very well aware of what their team needed to do and executing it perfectly.
Yeah. It's not a surprise that they were able to play this, especially because from a start, it seems like they wanted to play like this. And it's good to see teams that can actually go for the early game like that from Team Ambition.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what LMK decides to change going into game two, but we are going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back for game two.
Your eyes tell me the truth. I know them sins are you. I wanna take your hands and take you away on a cloudy day. Your eyes tell me the truth. I know them sins are you. I wanna take your hands and take you away on a cloudy day. I know the road is long. Winter times have gone. One more time we talk. Where we're gonna walk. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. Come with me. 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 Your eyes tell me the truth. I know them sins are you. I wanna take your hands and take you away on a cloudy day. Your eyes tell me the truth. I know them sins are you. I wanna take your hands and take you away on a cloudy day. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. I never felt this before. I always thought that it was love. I'm falling down, I'm sinking my thoughts. I've never been brave, I've never been enough. You say that you say that I say that I'm better, say that I'm strong. I'm capable, I'm capable.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are headed straight into draft for game 2 of LMK. versus Team Ambition. And a lot very similar. We got the same Lulu, we got the same Ezreal, as well as the Seraphine Flex. So far, sticking to their guns.
Yeah, pretty much the same. There hasn't been anything new. The Xinjiao, if it comes through, it's the same. I think. Oh wait, Diana. Well, actually, Diana was banned. So
it was also Diana.
Yeah, it's still the same.
I think if they do ban the Xinjiao, I'd be really surprised if they didn't ban the Xinjiao, especially now that they're on red side. But yes, it's very much expected to be the third ban. And wow, this is super interesting. So Little Monkeys is saying that we're both Corki, Victor, Orianna players, and if we're not going to be picking the Corki, then you're not allowed to. So they take it off the table, and looks like they are going to be first picking the Nocturne.
Yeah, and I like the takeaway as well, because if they play similar champion pools, taking a strong champion from either of those, it's okay. And that opens up the Nocturne ban that they had on the first side. So I like that they are taking this. It's the first pick, and Nocturne is a champion that can be flexed a lot. Like you were saying on LMK, I don't expect probably to see it on the mid lane, but on top lane and on jungle can still work. So I would be interested if they do send it to either of these lanes. And Team Ambition goes for the Rakan really early on. It's not a champion that you typically see taken away, and as a first pick, it's I don't want to say it's bad, but he does need a lot of setup around him, like the Vi, as in support. So for example, having the Saya first, I think it's close to really important to have with the Rakan. So I like that they are pairing it up already.
You're allowed to call it bad. It's okay to call it bad. I think it's probably a lot better with the Xayah. Very, very comfortable, especially for the ADC to have that Xayah. And that's a Galio that was banned in Phase 2 last time around. Very, very, very much expect that to be in the mid lane. It can be flex support, but I would be incredibly surprised if this wasn't our mid jungle duo.
It would be fun to see. Yeah, there's the rel. I was going to say it would be fun to see on the support pad. Just with the rel, you get that deny. But I like the Galio pick, especially now that they went for the rel and Nocturne, because now you have a lot of setup for the Galio to get his Hero's Entrance down. If he is able to get two champions that can dive in really easily, then the value of his ultimate just skyrockets way too high. And against champions that don't have too much mobility, even though the Xayah can deny the engage because of her ultimate, you have a lot of CC already with these three champions. So even just ignoring one of those may not be that much. And the Victor does not have an easy escape apart from the flash. So a lot of CC down to control these champions. And if you have a really huge carry on the side of LMK, then that would be massive for them.
Yep, I see the Victor lock. Not at all surprised. To be honest, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't have it in higher priority in Game 1, because both of these mid laners are incredibly competent Victor players, have played lots and lots of Victor, especially recently in both of their match histories. Yeah. But as we go into bans, thank you whoever's drafting for LMK, because that at least probably should be off the table. It'd be a scary time to see that for a second game. I'm a little bit interested by the Tristana ban. Haven't seen it have the highest of priorities, although Ensis does show a good amount of it in his match history.
Yeah, and Tristana is would be a champion that you can use with the rel really well, because you can engage really hard with the rel and get an advantage early on. So if you can get a kill really early on against the Rakan and the Xayah, then you will have so much more priority on bot lane, and that's something that it's more ideal to deny as long as you are playing a scaling type of bot lane. So I really like that they're taking away the Tristana, especially with the rel up. And now I want to see what LMK goes for, because there's still Kai'Sa open, Caitlyn open, champions that can be good but do have a lot of fallacies in comparison to other champions. And Hecarim, really different from the first game as a jungler.
Yeah, this is a really interesting pick, especially into the Nocturne. I expected this to be decently high priority because both junglers are competent on the pick, but a little bit interesting to see here. They want that engage, and wow, we're going to be getting ourselves Ensis was taken on Samira. That's going to be Samira Rel bot lane. That is going to be very exciting. And that set, which was also on the ban list in Game 1, set does have facing, does have a 70% win rate on it in solo queue. So very, very strong set player. And this is a big change in draft from Game 1.
Yeah, I think the adaptation is pretty much different, because previously you were playing carries that needed to stay far away and safe to be able to deal damage. Now you're playing a carry that wants to get dirty and go full in. You're committing to fighting and winning fights by going all in. And I like that if they are going to go for the Rel, the Galio, and the Nocturne into the first 3 picks, you are going as well with a carry that can follow you up. Because there's sometimes that teams just throw away the theme idea and go for something else. But staying true to the compositions idea and going all in with that, I think committing to that, it's the perfect way to actually go for a game like this. After you lost, I think going for a win would be ideal with a theme composition like this. And the Nar last pick, Nar is not a bad champion. He can do some damage on the game and he can control the lane depending on against who it is. But I think Zed is one of the most volatile matchups because if the Zed ever catches you, I think you don't have a really easy escape from him, especially with him going for the Stride Breaker. So I want to see how the Nar is played, but overall I just like the Literal Monkeys composition so much more.
Yeah, a big diversion from game one. For that top lane matchup, I think Nard tends to win it until he gets caught, and then he dies very, 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 very quickly. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll be all eyes. To be honest, will be on Nubili, who had a really, really good game one. So we'll see what he's able to do and how much flexing he's able to do in this matchup. Because if you space it correctly and Set can never hit that face breaker, then Gnar tends to win all of his melee matchups because of his range, or his mostly ranged laning phase nature. But talk to me about this mid jungle duo from either side. Obviously, we talked about the Nocturne Galio. It's got a lot of cross map play, but on the other side, Hecarim Victor, something that we've seen for a couple patches. I think it was very, very popular a month or two ago. But in terms of the early game, what should we expect? What should we be expecting for these four?
I think the mid lane and the jungle in this game are pretty quiet in terms of how much they want to do in the early game. I feel like the Victor will have a lot of priority. He should be able to push the Galio a lot and trade with him a little bit better. He probably will never be a kill threat against the Galio, and vice versa. The Victor should never have kill threat on the Galio. But on the jungler side, Hecarim, it's the jungler that does have a lot more impact in terms of being able to gank lanes. Nocturne wants to scale, wants to go for the level 6, so you need to get that as soon as possible. And I think that will be the idea from LMK. They will leave the Nocturne so that he can farm as long as he wants, so that he can reach level 6 fast and then commit to plays. As soon as level 6 is hit by Nocturne and Galio, then the game becomes different, and you can actually and you have to respect those two champions a lot and be wary that they can commit for plays. But before that, Hecarim and Galio should have much more of an advantage and should be able to control the early game pace and decide what they want to do really early on. But they are not really early game champions.
Absolutely. So, back to Hecarim to be making way more plays in the early game. And I also finally want to point out this bot lane matchup, because obviously Samira was a bit of a surprise straight out of left field. So we talked about that one. But a strong lane that they're going up against in the Xayah Rakan, this pairing has proven time and time again to be very, very potent, especially in that laning phase, because of the extended range on the E. It can make Rakan so much more slippery, so much harder to kill, and easier for him to get on top of you. So what do you feel about this bot lane matchup?
And precisely how you were saying, the fact that the Rakan does have the Xayah makes him much more valuable. Like, if he had a different bot lane pairing, his way of playing, it would be much more different, and he would need to play the lane according to that and the threat that comes with it. But now with the Xayah, he has much more leeway, much more space to play around, and he has much more ability to make over-the-top decisions or risky decisions without having to suffer that much. But I think that the Rel and the Samira have the kill potential. If you ever miss a step on level 2, I think these two champions can actually pursue. It's close to what Tristana could do. I think Samira does a little bit less than the Tristana can, but she can still kill you really early on and force on top of you. So they need to be careful about the level 2 engage from these two champions. And if they die, the bot lane just goes completely haywire for LMK, and they will get an immense advantage out of that alone.
Absolutely. Now, we are going to send us to a quick break before we get into game onto Summoner's Rift for Game 2, Little Monkeys versus Team Ambition. Stay tuned. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for Game 2 of Little Monkeys versus Team Ambition, Heart and Soul. Looks like we don't have any spicy level 1s this time around. At least they are not preparing for one. But Team Ambition came out the gates sprinting with a beautiful early game composition that absolutely demolished Little Monkeys. Despite the scoreboard not showing it, did put up a decent fight. They did stall for long enough, but Team Ambition came up on top, and this time we have a lot different. I'm Colonel, beside me is TDS, and TDS, this matchup's going to be so much different than Game 1.
Yeah, I feel like they will have much more fighting potential come mid game. The early game composition that they run in the previous game was spiking really early, and they were able to pull it off. Now with this composition that Team Ambition has, and also LMK, their fighting potential on mid game will be much more huge. They will be able to get into fights really early on, or at least come 10 minutes, they will be able to get into fights, and they should be close to equal in terms of fighting potential. And I feel like a lot of that will have to the side who wins will have to do with who has better setup and who cannot play better.
Absolutely. All eyes, I think, for this game are going to be on the bot lane because Ansys obviously ready to flex on a champ that we don't usually see in fives. It's very feast or famine, but obviously confident in it nonetheless. And Lexar had a really, really strong Game 1, and this time set up for success with the Zyra Rakan bot lane. I think both of these 80 carries are about to make a statement.
Yeah, and importantly, Lexar wasn't that huge. I don't feel like he was that huge in terms of lane base, but as soon as he was out of the lane, he was able to do much more damage, be a consistent carry, and be able to impact the map really well on the Jhin. Oh, that is even goes far.
Oh, that's a good engage by 29 Rosebud, getting a lot of damage. That's a big, big trade early for this Samira lane. We'll keep track if they can try and force on that, because Rakan has no pots left, while Rel has both of hers still available. Now, with the level 2 advantage, they're going to be trying to look in onto Samira. Decent amount of damage traded back, but looks like overall the Samira lane will take a stronger advantage in that top side.
Like you were saying, it's the fact that they reached level 2 first, so they were able to fight. But now with this level 2, if the Rakan goes for another engage, that is really risky, and the Rel is able to counter-engage, he will be at a threat of dying. The Rel has the Ignite, the Rakan has Exhaust. So they need to be careful about this particular trait now. At level 3, I think it's better for them on any other bot laner, but level 2 particularly is the strongest point in the lane for Rel, I feel like.
Would tend to agree. She's just so powerful in those early levels. And now, junglers are both pathing toward the top side, but I have to give credit to Nubali, who was able to push in his wave, ward up, so they're well aware of where Pakapal is on the map. And now, maybe even looking for an engage here on the top side and forcing the Nocturne out. He's trying to run away, but he cannot even secure his blue buff. The whole party is here, smited away. And Pakapal will lose that buff. The Scuttle Crab should be Hecarim's as well, and that's a tough early start for Nocturne.
Yeah, and that is a huge advantage for the Hecarim, like you were saying. Nice setup. The Victor being able to outpush the Galio like it was supposed to be expected. The same with the Gnar. They're able to push their lane opponents, and with that, they can set up the Hecarim to go into the jungle and steal the blue buff. I'm surprised that the Nocturne was so far behind in terms of the Hecarim clearing, but it's such a nice setup that they were able to pull off. And now with the top lane Scuttle Crab down, he will go for the bot lane Scuttle Crab, and the deficit in the jungle alone already is really massive.
Will get a 3 camp advantage if he's able to get both Scuttle Crabs as well as stealing that blue buff. And remember what we've been talking about in the early game. We're expecting this Nocturne to want to just farm until 6, so putting him behind puts behind all of Little Monkey's playmaking potential, because he is the big catalyst for all of that. You're expecting that Nocturne to ult in to be a vessel for that Galio ultimate to come in, and without it, Little Monkeys doesn't have all that much playmaking. So they really, really need him to stay ahead, and that's a great read by Ambition to realize, hey, this is the guy we should be focusing.
Yeah, and they have been playing really well around the jungle. I feel like in the previous game as well, the Lees needed to have a really early advantage, and most of the time they were setting up so that they could follow the Lees in terms she ever wanted to try and do anything. For example, in the previous game, Nubali often pushed the wave so that he could go to help the jungler set up a gang on mid lane. And that ended up netting them a little bit of an advantage most of the time. So I really like that they have been keeping up with the same trend and going with the jungle to help him and put him as far ahead as he can.
Absolutely. And the thing that surprised me the most when we look at both game 1 and game 2 so far is just how much these players play like a team. Team Ambition, they're all very much on the same page. They all always are with each other on the exact same plays, and it's a great thing to read because it's showing that these players are comfortable with each other. They know what each other wants, and wow, there's a lot of trading. I'm gonna hold that thought, base in a second, taking a lot of damage, but finally with the W, that's beautiful. The damage just barely not there. One auto would have done it. Basing almost styling on Nubly, but barely coming out with his life.
Yeah, and I think the huge difference there by the kill, like you were saying, maybe it's the one more auto, but it was also the fact that he hit the W, the Haymaker, with the side part, not the center part. If he hits the center part, then it's a kill, I feel like, because that's extra damage. So it's so close to actually being in favor of the set, and whoever gets that kill, be it the set of the Gnar or the Gnar, I think ends up getting a huge lead alone because that will enable them to win the lane.
Now, some trading in the bot side. I agree with you 100% on the top side. And to be honest, I think that favors Nubly because remember, Nubly naturally wins this matchup unless he's caught. And now already amassing over a 10 CS lead, facing did back and does still have the TP available, but that was a kill that honestly the set could have used.
Yeah, that kill, to me, with the set at least, it makes it so that he can win the lane because he can trade against the Gnar, but like you're saying, Gnar should have complete autonomy and control over the matchup. But if the Gnar does end up dying once, then the set can continue killing him constantly. Because as soon as he reaches the point where he has the Strike Breaker, then controlling the velocity of the Gnar to run away is much easier for the set, and he can get on top of him as well. So Gnar needs to be careful about that. But right now, like you were saying, Nubly is much more happy. He will continue being the main guy in that lane, and he will be able to keep on putting pressure. And on the rest of the map, they were trying to put a little bit of pressure on the Haircom. I think that, oh wait, Rel?
Looking in on the engage, unfortunately they will not be able to find much, but we'll see if the re-engage means more. Azilian finding that the root, not there for Lexer, he's unable to find that with the feathers pulled back. But I do want to point out that other than the top lane CS advantage, we have the mid lane honestly decently even, although Victor, after he catches his wave, will find himself at an advantage, which is surprising considering that Victor was the one who moved first in the early game to get to that blue buff, and Galio did stay there. So it's interesting as all that thought. We have a gank on the top side. Facing is going to try and come out using the ultimate. Really well done, but there's an engage on the bottom side. Rosebud is taken out pretty low, down to 20 HP. She's going to get rooted. Galio trying to keep her alive. She's flashing away. And now Ents is almost finding that kill onto Daddy Zillion, but able to escape. And now
nobody dies.
Wow, on both sides of the map, Hecarim will try and find Basting, but to no avail, and everyone gets to keep their life.
Yeah, that was surprising that nobody ends up dying, especially I think that top lane Zed was the champion that was closer to die. Yes, they had to commit the hero's entrance, but keeping the Rel alive, I think it's much more valuable. And it doesn't matter if it's down as long as the paranoia it's not up yet, so it's not like you were going to use it consistently. So at least using the cooldown there to sell the Rel is really valuable. One of the things that I wanted to say though on the bot side matchup particularly is the fact that it's funny how both of these supports can just get the re-engage really easily, and whoever gets the re-engage probably has a better chance of getting the kill than the one that engages.
Yeah, every time that's going to be something to keep a track of because both have such powerful re-engages. Quest will find something, but the Rakan is actually the one who's on his way up to the mid lane. Nocturne has evened out the farm differential, which is well done by him, but he's still just barely. Oh no, he has just tick 6, so now expect some playmaking out of the jungle.
Yeah, that is the most important part. And as now that he has paranoia, they can probably try and commit a little bit more either on bot lane or on top lane. But now that the Saya also has the ultimate, I would be surprised if they do go for the Saya at any point. I think committing on the Victor would be really nice because they can probably CC him long enough so that you can get the kill. Oh wait, Zed. I thought he was going to actually engage and force something without the Haymaker.
Yeah, it looks like just trying to use that W to farm up. He has fallen a little bit, behind in the CS department, but very natural in a matchup like this. And he also did, after that Hecarim gank, of get his TP forced out. So honestly, all things considering, well done by him to keep it as close as it is. And now Nocturne pathing up, it could potentially look for a gank here.
Yeah, now that Mega Gnar is down and it will take a little bit of time to actually get it back up, I feel like that's an option, but they need to take into account that the Hecarim may be in the vicinity. They now will see him on the ward on top lane, so they know that he is there, so maybe they think twice before actually committing on the Gnar, but that is an option. As soon as Mega Gnar is down, there will always be an option for ganking him on the top lane with the Paranoia.
Yeah, and now you do see Gnar has gone in for the jungle. They looked to try and contest on the blue buff respawn, but Gnar does just find it completely empty. And now Nocturne keeping himself hidden. So unfortunately, there will be no action on the top side as Hecarim again finding himself in a CS advantage.
Yeah, I feel like just because of how Hecarim does work, even though they nerfed him a little bit, he does have a little good clear time and clear in comparison to the Nocturne, so he will probably be able to clear faster than him, and also the early game start just made it so much more easy for him to get an advantage. Oh, Rel
looking in, Magazone is going to get stunned now, pull back by the Magnetron. That is beautiful from Rosebud. Now the Infernal Trigger will find its first blood, and that's coming in. The re-engage is beautiful, and this was taken, actually going to fall to Nick. The TP forced out. That's a 1-for-1, but First Blood still going over to Literal Monkeys. Now, the Drake is alive. We'll see if that is going to be where they set their eyes.
It probably should be an objective, and I gotta say, claps, I'm clapping for Rosebud. That was beautiful, the stopping of the Rakan, because that deny alone, the second part of the E cannot come through. That's a kill secure for the Samira. Oh wait,
back ball coming in, forcing out the Featherstorm, gonna get rooted up, but the fleeing is so much damage. Back ball will find his kill. Finally getting that kill off, and now Nick is here, but he's gonna get flashed away from. Rosebud is trying to keep the jungler alive. She may give her life for the smite to try and keep her jungler alive, and another 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, but the difference is who is getting the kills. The Hecarim is nice that he has a kill, but Samira now has 1 kill, Nocturne has 1 kill. Yes, they may lose this Drake, but ideally the champions that have the kills are the ones that are getting the kills, and even if they lose the first Drake, they can get the second one and contest for soul point later on. But importantly, the gold is going towards the champions that need the gold most. And I gotta say once again, Rosebud, even though he dies there, it's better that he is the one that ends up dying and not the Nocturne.
Absolutely, keeping her jungler alive. And now, to be honest, you have to keep your eyes out for Nick, because with taking both of those kills, the only 2 that Ambition has to their name, we're going to have to make sure that he's using that gold effectively, that he's forcing his advantage and continuing to be effective in these ganks. There is a small catch, but nothing will show of it. And honestly, this Hecarim has to do a lot. Whoa! Delivering the stun. That's a beautiful combo. But Hecarim is on the bottom side as they're trading on the top side as well. Wiggly will be going into Mega Gnar stun, but the turret is not locked in on him. That's the ultimate coming out, basing, trying to flash away. The Showstopper stalling for time, but they are both low. They both are without their flashes, and basing is on the wrong side of the map. But Paka is coming, trying to keep his top laner alive. Now, Nobly, now you're the one that's in the wrong side of the map. Galio is arriving too. The TP's actually coming out. They're going to look to try and fight this, and now Nobly jumps straight into the waiting arms of Quest. He'll find himself the kill. Oh, flashing forward, trying to look for the big taunt, but Packaball is just a little bit too far away, unable to find it. Rosebud finds a little bit more of the re-engage. The Magistorm actually pulled out the tower. That's a lot of damage. And now they're going to try and look for more. Esset was taken, has the Infernal Trigger ready and waiting. As soon as he hits that Esset, Elixir will fall. That's the Infernal Trigger. Double kill going over. Now on the opposite side of the map, Victor will find 1. Can they get more? Packaball trying to escape, but Nick will get himself a 3rd kill on the board. And that will mean the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and I don't know how it happened on the top side that the Galio ends up dying, and then the Pakaball ends up following with an Nocturne. I'm not sure that was necessary at all, but on the bot side, once again, Rosebud. Even though the Samira is the flashy one, that ultimate was huge. The Magnet Storm to keep the Rakan from going away, and the Samira and pulling as well the Saya, so that they are both near the turret or under the turret, so that then the Samira has the setup to get the ultimate. Even though Samira misses a couple of autos as well as one of the Qs to get the Inferno Trigger before they can actually run a little bit away, it doesn't matter. They're so on top of them that even if they try to run away, the Samira can get the kill, and she gets a double kill. 3-1 now. Samira is fully spiking at this point.
She's going to be doing so much damage. In the middle, they're actually rotating the Rakan up, trying to get this turret. Barely not able to finish off the tower, but that's a lot of damage. And eventually, that turret will be one of the
It's much worse than that, because they didn't get the turret and they didn't get the plates either. I think it was at the end. Oh no.
Oh, that's so much damage. You cannot disrespect the Gnar like that. He will take himself a very quick kill as Rosebud trying to find the engage on the opposite side of the map. Now Lexar trying his best to kite. Ensis has finally arrived. Now Galio is coming in. Featherstorm, they're trying to wait out the Featherstorm, but the root is beautiful. But Ensis doing so much damage. Wow, so close to finding that kill. Unable to do so though. So an advantage found in the top side for Team Ambition. And on the bottom side, they are able to survive. And now, with a minute 45 until Drake, there's not that much to fight over, but it looks like Nick doesn't care. He's going to be trying to look in, but that's going to be the fear. Shrouded Darkness is going to keep alive, but Quest is stunned up, locked down. There's a lot of damage. Chaos Storm going to be ticking down, and he will fall. Now Rosebud trying to find Undeniably, but he's going to turn into Mega Gnar soon. The Mega Storm is well done to keep him locked in, and now he's going to be suppressed. He's going to be killed. Samira will find herself the kill on the backside. And will find yet another. Now they can continue to look forward. That is a beautiful fight to clean up in the end for Ensis. Now 5-1 on this Samira. And they're potentially looking for more, but their HP bar just aren't there. Damage will continue to come out. That's popping the shield from Ensis. Now trying to stop it, but he will give her life once again to keep her carries alive. The absolute beautiful support gameplay. Much respect to that Rel, as it will barely scrape out alive.
Yeah, and what a scrappy fight. I really like how Team Ambition went for the engage after they knew that the Galio ultimate was down. I think that was really important. And even though it ends up being a 3-4-4 on 3-4-2 on the in favor of Team Ambition, it's still nice kills going for the Samira. I feel like it could have been better if the Rel and the Samira and the Nocturne just run away before committing to anything more. But it's still understandable. The Samira still is getting kills, and as long as the Samira doesn't die and loses her advantage, you're still at prime position to win the fights later on. And that's what LMK is betting on right now. Also, I want to point out that the set went for the Gore Drinker instead of the Stride Breaker, which I know that the item was nerfed this patch, but I feel like the Stride Breaker just gives much more value for the set overall.
Yeah, I'm feeling confident in the Gore Drinker, trying to be that frontline for his team, I guess, is the rationale behind it. But on the opposite side, the frontline is just so big. This Hecarim 5-0-2 is going to be doing so much damage and staying alive so much. He's going to be drain tanking the entire time. And now, definitely looking for a fight here. Rakan's not going to land, but the devastating charge will still find itself onto Rosebud, and now trying to charge away, but she's going to be playing it out. This is a beautiful fight. You're going to find one before Nocturne can even arrive. He arrived just to watch the double kill go over for Victor. Now he's going to flash away. They're going to continue under the tower. Triple kill going over to KLC. And now, exactly when we were starting to talk about what LMK was happy with and not happy with, all of a sudden, they're going to lose a lot as a Drake is on the table.
Yeah, they certainly are not happy with this. I can assure you that. The fact is that they were in the mid lane alone for some reason. The Samira was nowhere near close, and the set was clearing vision down, setting up for a flank that can work maybe later on, but I don't think right now is the most ideal thing. So it's spreading out the members without actually getting anything meaningful, and then 4 members on the mid lane just committing to get to that play and getting the 3 kills. Nar wasn't even a part of that. He was just pushing the top side, getting a CS advantage, and that's it. But now Team Ambition is in a much more comfortable position. They get 3 kills, they get the Drake like you're saying, and they are now setting themselves up for Soul Point as well as Soul.
And it is going to be the Mountain Soul, which everyone knows is so powerful. I always say every time I cast a Mountain Soul that it feels so hard to lose when you secure a Mountain Soul. It just gives you so many stats. All your pseudo tanks become real tanks, and all of your tanks become unkillable. And it's just so powerful. So Team Ambition are very much set up for success because they have 2 Drakes to their name.
Yeah, the soul is so important in this particular game, and I feel like with a Nocturne and a Samira that will try to engage on you and a composition that wants to get on top of you, having extra resistances is always going to be so much more valuable. So obviously, getting that extra resistances for the Saya, for the Victor, will be so huge. Oh wait,
I'm trying to look in again. He's gonna get stunned, but still finds the devastating charge. And now Paranoid comes out, and there's a big Magnet Storm. Can they continue to find the kill? The Infernal Trigger will go in. That's a lot of damage. Now Galio finally coming in over the top, but everyone will be disengaging. Now Quest trying to look for more. Rosebud cannot find anything else, and that's a great save by LMK, but they almost could have gotten more.
Yeah, I feel like they could have probably gotten more with the Samira flashing in with Inferno Trigger, but because she was charmed by the Rakan, the Inferno Trigger gets shut down and she cannot continue the fight. Really clutch by that Isilian, and that was inches away from being reset city for the Samira, which could have been huge.
Yeah, Ensis saw it in his eyes, but unfortunately that Rakan charm stopping him, and really well done, because you're right, that would have been so devastating for Team Ambition if that Infernal Trigger did go off. The flash was there, and he ended up having to use defensive
Samira, she's alone here.
You cannot disrespect this. You do not have control of your own jungle. The red buff does go over, and now with 2 minutes and 45 seconds till the Drake spawns, I'm a little bit interested to see Team Ambition on the bottom side of the map, because we are just 15 seconds from Baron spawning.
Yeah, and but the good thing is that they do have good control of the bottom side, so they don't need to worry. Oh no,
camp, they will engage onto Nobly. He has no
yeah, bye-bye.
any way of getting out. The rage bar was so far from ever hitting its mark, and that's a beautiful pick for LMK, but they are losing on the bottom side. They did lose one tower there. Half of their tier 2 tower is also going to be falling as Hecarim just does so much damage. They will be taking the second one there. It is going to fall, and Galio is unable to hold that. Now, Paranoia actually going out. They're going to be looking for the fight here. Rel looking in with the engage. Can she find the Magnet Storm? That's a beautiful storm. Rosebud will find the kill, and now Zaya using the feathers going to get a big root for the Facebreaker. Ensis is dominating. Will take that kill, and now the TP comes in. The Chaos Storm is there, but he can survive against 4. Although he sees it in his eyes. He sees the Quadra. Rosebud is half HP, but he's taking so much damage. Oh, the damage is there. Can it burn? Oh, Hecarim looking in. He wants to kill. He wants to find everything that he can. Shut down, going over to basing on the other side of the map, and Hecarim only finds one before delivering his shutdown gold over to LMK as the kills get tied, and the tower is only next to fall.
What a series of events that was. First, they get the pick on the Gnar, really well done. They had the vision there, and then the Rakan commits to try and engage, but because he engaged, he prompts up the Paranoia for the Nocturne. It was all really well set up by the side of LMK, and it could have been so good for Team Ambition once the victory arrived, but because they spaced themselves really well, the Samira never ends up dying, which was so close. If she dies, then maybe the victor can just turn it around. Same with the Hecarim, but since every member survived, they had to overcommit themselves, and because they were overcommitting without flash or any escape tool that later on, it was easy to pick it back up. But that was really close. LMK could have lost the game out of that alone if they ended up dying, but at the same time, now they pull up the advantage back to their favor, and they are really close in gold with that.
And all eyes are going to be on Ensis. He got so much gold, and with this mountain fight, it will be so point if Team Ambition can secure it. So LMK really does want to fight this, and Little Monkeys are going to try and enter the river, but already fully in control of Team Ambition. So keep your eyes on this Samira. She's where the most of the damage is, and Rosebud slowly getting poked out, down to half HP already. This poke can be devastating when they're trying to enter the river and they just can't find their way in.
Yeah, the setup by the side of Team Ambition is really nice. They have control. Oh, wait, there's Nocturne.
Oh, going in with the Paranoia, on top, delivering the Galio, but he's going to die before Galio even comes. Now the taunt, he's going to try and find as many as possible. He's going to find it to set. Showstopper into the back line, but Quest will fall. And now there's Blake Gala coming in on the back. Rosebud will fall. And Samira, she's trying her best to escape, but she cannot find any resets. The damage is there, but Shutdown goes over to the Hecarim, and Team Ambition gets the ace.
Yeah, they felt the need to commit from the side of LMK, but because it was such a heavy commitment from the Nocturne, even with the Galio ultimate, it never mattered. If you notice that fight, Samira and Rel were miles away from the team, so they never were really apart even before they actually committed for the fight, and then the Gnar just pushed them into the wall, and it's an easy killing. It was like picking up targets one by one, because they ended up going in one after one before they actually committed as a full 5v5, and because of that, it was easier for Team Ambition to actually get the kills, and the setup that they did previously with the vision and the pull from the victor ends up being in their favor.
And now able to secure the Baron as well. And they have themselves a massive gold advantage. It will only continue to balloon now that they have themselves the Baron in tow. And now, LMK find themselves once again on the back foot. The combo is still there. Samira is still strong. If we could toggle gold for a second, let's see how far Samira is. She has herself the stopwatch, and wow, 11k already to her name. Ensis is becoming the only hope that LMK has left.
I feel like she was the only hope a couple of minutes ago, and she was the strongest member from the side of LMK. Right now, she still is, but the Saya can answer her. The Saya does have the damage to be able to keep to pump against the enemy team. And that means that even if the Samira does end up going in really well in the fights, the Saya does have the potential to answer. Same with the Victor. So they have to play the combos close to perfect, and they have to play the fights close to perfect to actually be able to pull it off from the side of LMK. Because if not, Team Ambition has shown to have the setup to be able to win this fight. And Basting waiting here a long time.
Basing, sitting in the bush now, getting Gnar ulted back,
this is
trying to get,
yeah.
oh, it's beautifully done, straight under the tower. Nobly cannot jump over that wall, and a Magnustorm will find two.
Oh, nice.
That Zillion gets killed by Basting himself, and now the shutdown goes over. Now Paranoia, they're going to try and look for the fight on the other side of the map. That's the taunt. Can he find it? We'll find two. Packerball flashing away, and the damage is still there. Basting will try, but Ensis is in the stopwatch. Actually, Galio ultimate coming in, and now the Infernal Trigger finally finds its mark. Shutdown going over to Ensis, and they are keeping their hopes alive in game 2.
Yeah, and clutch stopwatch by Ensis. If he doesn't stopwatch, I think he gets insta-killed by the Victor, and then that teamfight is much worse. But like we were talking before, really great setup by Basting. He waited on that push for so long, and it pays off. Because he is able to push the Gnar on top of the turret. They have the setup, they can stop the Gnar there. They get the kill on the Rakan as well. And with that already 2-kill advantage, they can move into the mid lane and stop the push from the Victor, the Saya, and the Hecarim. And massively, they were able to stop the Baron push. They lose the Baron, yes, but they keep the Baron push and just one outer turret, which means that they didn't lose that much.
Yeah, really well done by Literal Monkeys to have some strong damage control and to avoid losing their base off of that push. And now they have a minute 30 until the Soul Drake spawns for Team Ambition, and that's where we are going to see Literal Monkeys' final stand. I always believe that it's incredibly hard to lose with that Soul. So now all eyes again stay on Ensis, because if he dies, if he's unable to get into the fight, then Team Ambition will find themselves a Soul.
Yeah, like you were saying, Ensis is crucial to this composition. It's crucial how he positions and if he's able to impact the fight. We saw previously that if he's in the fight, then they can win really handily. But if he's not there, then there's close to no damage from the side of LMK and they cannot win. But oh wait, Paranoia on the Victor, he's alone here!
He is alone, and they're going to try to damage. Packerball is taking down so low. Galio maybe in the wrong spot, but Packerball is just so squishy, taking down so low. And with a minute left until Drake spawns, your jungler is just way too low HP. He's gonna have to get a back off or try and heal off of a camp. He's gonna look to the bottom wave, but he has 45 seconds until that spawns, and keep an eye out for his HP bar, as his ultimate is almost halfway down to coming up. But we'll see if he's able to get it again, as they're going to be forced out of the bottom jungle.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like that play. The idea from the Paranoia from Packerball wasn't that bad, because the Victor was alone there, but the distance that the Victor was able to create between himself... Oh wait, Rakan? That was close.
Yeah, a little bit too close for comfort.
Yeah, anyone that dies here can just mean losing the fight. So every member needs to be careful. But going a little bit back, the Victor was able to create enough distance so that the Paranoia didn't matter enough, and then the Hecarim was able to arrive. Those fights are going to be decided by inches, and oh no, Rel?
Rosebud going in, she's going to find 3 in the Magnustorm, but they're going to do a lot of damage. Now, Charm coming in, they will find the kill before they're even able to get the engage. Now the taunt has to be massive. He only finds 1, and now the shutdown. Oh, shutdown! Find 1! Shutdown going over to Basing, and now that's the kill on the Packerball, but Ensis is on the backline. Ensis with the double kill. He's going to use the Infernal Trigger, but his health is going down so low. He's going to be flashed upon. Newly will find the kill. Now it's up to Basing. He's the only one left, and he will fall. That is Team Ambition finding themselves a Soul.
Yeah, and that seemed like the best teamfight possible for LMK. They got almost everything that they wanted. Rosebud with a massive engage, the Paranoia being crucial. They could kill the 2 of the carries. The set as well had a really good Haymaker as well as Showstopper, but it didn't matter. The Gnar was able to separate the fight either way, and he was close to full health, killing the Samira and the rest of the team members alone. That should not happen. Same with the Hecarim. I'm surprised that the fight transpired in that way, and now they get the Mountain Soul. they get everything that they wanted, and even though they were able to get two massive kills on the Saya and the Victor, it seems like it won't matter at all. At all.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard for this Samira to navigate these fights now because she has to find that reset. And with the Mountain Soul, that's exactly the kind of soul you want into a Samira because she can no longer get that last tick of damage. She has to break through all of their shields before she can ever start to touch them. And this game has become next to impossible for Little Monkeys.
Yeah, the chance is there, but it's really hard to get there. Maybe a couple of picks can actually decide the game, but I feel like the decision making from LMK to follow the rail engage or to follow the Nocturne with the Hero's Entrance has been a bit lacking in reality. The Hero's Entrance has been coming way too late.
Oh, look at him with the grand entrance, and that's going to be a perfect catch on exactly who they need. Samira has escaped, but she's able to. We'll see how much damage they're able to get. Blade Baller. Oh, it's so big! That is so much damage coming out of the Zion now. Nick, the killing spree Samira has fallen, and that is the last hope of Little Monkeys dying as Quest will try and find his way out, but he's only going to delay the inevitable double kill going over to the Hecarim, and that is the entire team falling around Rosebud.
Yeah, just Rosebud being left alive, and Team Ambition decided to take matters into their own hands. They go for the full-on engage, and they destroyed Samira. From the start, she was below half health. The shield bow shield, it's being procced, but it doesn't matter because you don't get the full-on effect from that. And now you can engage, even if the set engage on you and the rest of the team comes into you, they're in a choke point where the victor gets full value. So Team Ambition from start to finish, really great game, really nice counter engages from the side of LMK, but at the end of the day, even with the Samira being so far ahead, it didn't matter. Team Ambition seemed to always have a correct answer, and I feel like this all transpires back into something that you said really at the start of the cast, and it's that Team Ambition felt like a team that were committed to playing around each other really well. Something that LMK right now seems to be lacking a little bit because Galio's Heroes entrances were a little bit too late in comparison to the team engages. So maybe it can be something that in the future, if they can correct this, they can be much more proactive as a team and have better cohesion in terms of team fighting, because these team fights weren't that bad. It's just that there was a couple of miss executions here and there that can be corrected in the later stages. But Team Ambition, what a game, what a series overall.
Absolutely. I have to give so much credit to them. They were just so perfectly on the same page with everything they did. Very, very well coordinated. And honestly, surprising me and probably surprising a lot of the rest of their group. And this is going to turn out to be a very, very competitive Shurima group because Team Ambition looks like they could be topping it.
Yeah, and we were hyping already this group as probably the hardest group. And with the performances like Team Ambitions, then if you're a member of another team of this group, then you have to be scared. And even teams from other groups. Because if they keep up this performance, if they keep playing like a good team, then they will be one of the scariest teams. It doesn't matter if your players are great, if you don't have a team cohesion to follow it up. And Team Ambition already are showing that they do have the team cohesion to play around their players really well and around the objectives really well, because it's not only playing around the champions, they have really good setups in the map to play around what they wanted to do. And that is also a crucial part of being a good team as well.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Team Ambition for starting off the season right. I have been Colonel. Beside me was TDS. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week.
Your eyes tell me the truth. I know thou sins are you. I wanna take your hands and take you away on a cloudy day. I know the road is long. Winter times have gone. One more time we talk. Where we're gonna walk. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right. 'Cause we got just 1 second till eternity. If you wait too long, maybe the chance is gone. So you got just 1 second if you come with me. You gotta decide what is wrong and what's right.
Going to be just a giant game of dodgeball. Aegis, thank you so much for the raid of 58. Really appreciated. We were just talking about the mid lane matchup. Like I was saying, I'm really expecting to see the Cassiopeia pulling ahead a little bit more here. If she can take one Q and make it so much more easier than Cassiopeia. All she has to do is dodge a stun from Syndra, and the Syndra's going to be a little bit of a pinch.
Absolutely. And we do see the junglers once again starting
Opposite sides
offside.
of each other. They
Which
just keep doing
I
this.
guess, yeah, this Lost Chapter's jungler must really enjoy starting topside. Which I guess makes sense. He does have a really strong lane bot to work around.
Oh yeah, this is a
Maybe
very,
not
very
this
good
game
lane.
quite as much, but their support has a lot of setup in a lot of other games that they've played, so I guess it makes sense. It will be interesting to see Yama on this Lulu, though. Everything that we've seen has suggested that he is more of a
Aggressive player.
engaged, yeah, aggressive-oriented player with the set and the Nautilus and all of the spicy bot lane picks that he has as OP.GG.
I'm
So I'm
hoping
kind of
to
excited
see
to see that.
what I'm really hoping to see. I want to see how he can react because, in my opinion, I think Lulu's support where you need to be able to react fast and know who's the right target to ulti and when.
Absolutely. Not just ulti, but her entire kit, lay her entire kit, yeah.
Yeah, just dump it all there. There we go, like that one Q from the Syndra. It just does so much more to the Syndra than what Syndra's combo can do to Cass. And with the movement speed, I'm really trusting in Cassiopeia's here. Her ability to just dodge around all the balls, all the abilities. Is
Absolutely.
super crucial.